Welcome to Next Shift with Rick Wagan. Suzuki does not suck. Tonight, the Montreal Canadiens beat the Ottawa Senators 4-1 in Montreal in Game 3 of the NHL season. They were able to win the game with a combination of some good offensive and defensive play, along with great goaltending again by Montembeault. Canadiens opened up the scoring with a goal by Emil Hedman, and then it was a great play by Dvorak. Kind of kept it in the zone after Lane Hutson brought it into the zone. Very nice towards the end of the power play. It was actually considered a power play goal with just a couple seconds left. Wasn't a traditional power play goal, but it was a good goal. Obviously, Emil got his first NHL goal, and we're happy for him. He had a good game. I think got that earlier on in the game, and so he continued to kind of press as a fourth liner. But he had a good game when he was out there. On top of that, the Montreal Canadiens then got a goal by Cole Caulfield, a great shot. I mean, he just found the one little spot in the upper right hand corner above Allmark's shoulder to get the second goal. Huge goal for the Canadiens to take a 2-0 lead into first period. And then they were able to kind of hold on in the second. Montreal Canadiens have to work on that second period. I don't think they were definitely outplayed in the second period, but that's when Montembeault just stood on his head and kept the team in the game. I can count one or two incredible saves, but he was just always there, always in position, moving his body. It was a great game by Samuel Montembeault. Starting in the third period, they got a beautiful goal by Alex Newhook. Again, a nice pass by Lane Hutson. So he got credited for an assist there, primary assist. I believe he kind of kicked the puck over, or at least used his skates to get the puck over to Dvorak, and he may get a second assist later on in the game, but we'll see. And then a final goal scored by Cole Caulfield. It was kind of a follow-up on a breakaway by Suzuki, and he got the goal. That was assisted by, obviously, Suzuki and Slafkovsky. Slafkovsky came out of the game with 2 assists. Caulfield with 2 goals. On the defensive side, Gooley and Hutson and Matheson all got assists. It was a good game by all. I mean, running down the list, I felt like Josh Anderson brought a lot of energy to the game. He's playing strong on the penalty kill. Had a couple of penalties. Definitely the last penalty was something he didn't need to take. He also drew a penalty as well. So he was probably taking that out and needs to buy a stronger stick maybe so it doesn't break when he cross-checks people. Armia did okay. Caulfield, found the net. Doc had some interesting plays along the way. Dvorak played a good game, had a nice assist. Evans I love Evans as a fourth line center. I know he's kind of playing third line right now, but as a fourth line center, he just brings the energy, kills penalties, does all the little things on the defensive side of the puck well, and then he has speed and he has a shot. So we'll see him, continuing on as a key forward on the Montreal Canadiens. Brendan Gallagher continues to play exceptional hockey for his, for where he is in his career. I think he's definitely lost a step, but you can't tell. He works his butt off for his first 25 seconds of his shift, and then the last 15 seconds, he's still working his butt off, but he has no wind left. But he's always been that way, has his strong shot. He seems to have a lot of chemistry with Lane Hutson. Just keep your eye out for that pairing, because I think that's going to give Gallagher a lot of opportunities this year as they kind of play 5-on-5 together. Heineman got his goal. We talked about him. I thought Kapanen played a good hockey game. I don't think he figured in the scoring. No, he didn't have any points. He was on he's +1, so he's on for a goal 4. Just some good forward checking. Similar to like Evans, he does a lot of things well, but I think he has a higher upside than Evans. So we'll see how that goes. It's only his second game, and I think he's fighting his way into the lineup, which is great. Alex Newhook, great shot, great goal. I came into the season not a huge fan of Alex Newhook. He's not a great passer. He has a solid shot, and he's a fast skater. But all in all, I think we have to see where it goes. But definitely, he's having a good start to the season, working his butt off. Slafkovsky got a couple of assists. I think they were both secondary assists. Not the greatest start of the year for 3 games for Slafkovsky, but I'm not giving up on the kid. He still does things, interesting things. He has got to be one of the best backhanded passers that I've seen, cross ice passers that I've seen. You see some small backhand passes. This guy goes, from one end to the other, backhand on people's stick. It's quite impressive. So let's see how that goes. And although I start to show off every day with Suzuki does not suck, Suzuki has not come out, blaring in the start of the season. He came in a little heavier this year. He probably put on weight for muscle, but I'm not sure that's helping him. I think he looks a little slow out there. Um, Hopefully he'll get a chance to take it up a notch as the season progresses. On the defensive side of the puck, Justin Barron played a lot of hockey. He didn't make any major mistakes. He tried a couple things on the blue line that I probably would have, second guessed if it went in the net. But all in all, he played well. I love the way Gooley's playing. Matheson had a good game for Matheson. He still continues to make mistakes, but he's out there. Savard's solid. Jack did some solid things out there as well. I didn't see any major mistakes. I didn't see anything that tremendous. And then there's Lane Hutson. Lane Hutson is the most exciting player I've seen on the Montreal Canadiens in a Montreal Canadiens jersey since Guy Lafleur. I'm calling that out. Like people are talking about, Kovalev or I don't know, Stefan Richer or PK Subban, Mats Naslin. We had some good players in the years, but it's just something about when he steps on the ice, it's just another level of fun to watch. And so I'm looking forward to how Lane Hutson progresses, but I look at him and he's him. He's the one. And it's great to have a defenseman in that position because they get on the ice so much more than forwards. When I say that position, I mean he's got potential to be a superstar. So we may have a superstar on the Montreal Canadiens, and he may be on defense, and we may see him play 25 to 30 minutes a game as he progresses in maybe not this season, but in his career. So looking forward to the Montreal Canadiens next game, which is on Monday, I believe, against Pittsburgh. Looking forward to that game. Samuel Montembeault was my first star, but a close second was Lane Hutson, and he didn't do anything special for Lane Hutson. Everything he does is special. And then you have Cole Caulfield who puts the puck in the net. So I didn't get a chance, unfortunately, to see who were the three stars. I'm looking quickly to see if I catch it, but those were my three stars of the game tonight. So we'll see if I'm prepared with that as well. Hey, look, we have a guest joining us. I don't know if he can hear me, but I've been talking about the entire game. I don't know if we want to keep going or you want to jump on. You're on mute. There you are. Stephen Cohen is back. How are you, Stephen?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just going to rotate this around a little bit because that's just the way we've always run it. So I want to keep it consistent. So you're really at the tail end, believe it or not, but I'll talk about, I've been talking for the last 10, 15 minutes on how the Canadiens played tonight. So you're going to come in nice and blindfolded from everything I said and say your own thing. So I'd love to hear from you in terms of what you're thinking and what how you thought the game went today, and maybe we'll banter back and forth from there.
All right. I'm going to give you my thoughts. First of all, phenomenal effort by the Canadiens. Phenomenal goaltending. Phenomenal effort from the defense, the forward. It's an all-around great game. Throughout the lineup. But I want to say one thing. So this shows everyone how important goaltending is. And, I think even the last game against Boston, we didn't get off to a good start from a goaltending perspective. And it really, when you're playing with weak goaltending, it really, the players, you're playing without that confidence of somebody backing you up behind the net. And I think that from the beginning, you just saw some of the key saves, just one or two saves, and it catapults that team to get one goal. And then suddenly the Canadiens were leading the game 2-0. Then they got another goal to go up 3-0. And then from that point on, I don't think Ottawa had it in them to come back. So I think that is the most important thing to take away from tonight. I also want to throw out a kudos to Lane Hutson, who was just absolutely, he showed tonight why he's going to potentially be a candidate for Rookie of the Year. So that's my initial thoughts.
So
I,
yeah, I mean, so you said the same things I said in terms of Monty and Hutson. I think, I touched on all the different players and how they played the game, and I kind of gave a recap of the goals and talked a little bit about that. Um, you know, I agree with you wholeheartedly that goaltending is key, and the Canadians are starting the season 2 games now with Samuel Montembeault, who has been unbelievable. So unbelievable is one thing, right? You need a first goalie to be unbelievable. I appreciate that our second game we had a goalie in there that didn't have a good game for sure. And so the difference being that, yeah, if Samuel Montembeault could play 3 games in 4 nights the same way, you play him in the nets every game for 82 games, you're gonna win. But that's not usually how it works. Even Carey Price and our best goalies of all times didn't play every game, and especially didn't play on back-to-back nights. So you're going to need a second goalie that can
right?
stop the puck. And that's something we could talk about tonight or at a different time. But for tonight, I agree with everything you're saying. I'll add the fact that I thought Josh Anderson played a good game. I thought Cole Caulfield just, he's got the scoring touch, which, getting confidence for him early in the season is going to be so important as it moves through. I haven't been as impressed with the rest of his line, Suzuki and Slavkovsky, but again, those guys are, they're still putting points on the board, and you know they're getting their legs under them. Especially Suzuki, he has a career behind him already that we can trust. He's going to start playing some good hockey. But I agree with everything you're saying. We can talk about Primo if you want, but from my perspective, I agree that if you can get goaltending like you have in the last 2 games for Montembeault, and you can get 55, 60 games from him, it's gonna be a huge boost for the Canadiens. You still need to find 25, 30 games from a backup goalie to kind of take that pressure off, because he won't be ready. He won't be there for the playoffs. He'll be tired. You know what I mean? Like, you need something, right? So all I can say is I haven't given up on Montembeault. I was watching Tony Marinaro's show, and he basically said October 10th was the day he gave up on Primo. I'm a fan of Dobish. I've been following Dobish's career. I'm a huge fan of Fowler. I think Fowler is going to be a great prospect in the future. But for this season, and what you need for the team, I haven't given up on Primo. I think Primo had, believe it or not, if you look at the stats, I'll pull them out if you want, but he had 910 save percentage last year. He had a better goal against average than Montembeault last year. I'm not saying he's a better goalie, but he's not as terrible as he was in game one. And that's what you have
So,
to remember, right?
so the Canadians need to improve this season. We all agree, right? They need to make the next step, take the next step. I'm not talking about Stanley Cup, but I'm talking about contend for a playoff spot, maybe even make the playoffs. If Monty doesn't play, I'd say 60 games, 55 games, they're not making the playoffs unless they have a different goalie.
Well,
So
I don't think
Primo, I
anyone's
agree. But
I don't
I
think
agree.
anyone's doubting that he's not going to play 20. I would be shocked if he doesn't play 55 games unless he's injured, right? So like I think that's the
I
minimum you're
hope.
going to.
I
No,
hope
it's
you're
not even
right. I
hope.
hope
Like,
you're
but
right.
again, let's look at the Canadians stats, right? Like, so let's see if basically the Montreal Canadiens goaltending last year. Okay, you had Sam Montembeault with 41 games played. Okay, he had a 3.14 goals against average. He had a 903 save percentage. Okay, you had Caden Primo, who played 23 games, which is what you're asking him to do.
Right.
23 games would be 59 games for Samuel Montembeault, which I think is doable. I think it might be hard, but we'll see. In 23 games, he had a 299 goals against average and a 910 save percentage. Now, granted, he had a terrible first game. He'll admit it. Everyone would admit it. He was nervous. He hasn't had a great preseason. I would keep a short leash on the player, in a sense that if he continues to perform poorly, one, you got to ride
I
Monty
I
as
just
much.
don't want to, Rick. I just don't want to see this. I don't want to see Marty like go into this rotation of he plays Monty one game, then he plays Primo, Monty
No,
Primo.
he's not going to
I
do
just
that.
don't want to see that. I'm just the jury's out. Let's see who's the next
Yeah,
goalie.
I
And
agree with that.
if I see that he starts going that route, then I'm gonna have my doubts about Marty, and he deserves his fate. So right now, I think everybody knows that Monty is like a candidate for the top goalie in the NHL. you got to ride that goal. You got to
Let's
give.
not
You got to. Yeah.
let's not go too fast. Okay, let's
Yeah.
hope he
Well,
falls in the top 5 or 10. I can name a couple of goalies in New York and in Tampa.
one
Uh,
goal in 2 games,
I
and
mean, listen, he's looking to be one of the best goalies from Canada. Well, you call that. He might be playing for Canada in the Four
right.
Nations Cup. We appreciate that. But again, I agree with if you're concerned about Martin St. Louis and the Montreal Canadiens playing 41-41, I agree. That's not going to happen. If
I
that
hope.
happens,
I
that's a
hope that's
huge.
all I'm asking for.
No,
I
no,
just don't want
no,
to
no.
see that.
That would be a shocker to me. I mean, the Montreal Canadiens are going to ride the hot hand, and the hot hand is Monty, and the hot hand most likely will be Monty
Right.
because he's a better goalie than Primo right now. It's pretty obvious. And the Canadiens schedule eases up a little bit. There's not a back-to-back for another 5 or 6 games. There's probably 2 or 3 days. There is another game on Monday, so there's only a 1 day break. I'd be very surprised if they don't start Monty on
Let's
Monday.
see. Let's
Yeah, I
see
mean,
if
if that's the case, then we can get on. I think the whole team, the whole city, and anyone that likes the Montreal Canadiens is going to be on MSL's case. Yeah. So Montez St. Louis' case. So, end of the day, I thought. What did you think of Kapanen's game? Did you kind of watch his game? I've watched.
Yeah, it was decent. It was good.
Right.
He was involved. I think he got an assist in
He
Boston,
did.
if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
he got an assist in his first
And
game. Correct. Yeah.
so listen, he's he wasn't a star today. I mean, the players to me that stuck out were Hutson, Goulet,
Yeah.
Doc, Caulfield, Suzuki. I mean, Gallagher. I think Gallagher had a great
Yep.
game. Josh Anderson.
Yep.
I mean, all of those players had phenomenal.
It was a good team win. You can't really pick anyone out that didn't have a good game today. I mean, if you maybe Barron fought a little bit, but all in all, I can't think of anyone out there that didn't have a good game. It was a good overall game by the Canadians. They didn't get outplayed. The second period was terrible again. I think that's one of the things with the long change and the young players. They have to figure out a way to not get stuck in their own end in those second periods. That's their. They have 2 hurdles they have to overcome to make the playoffs this year, Steven. One is basically they have to fix their second periods, and the other and basically, yeah. So they have to fix their second periods. I can't even remember what I was going to say on the second one, so never mind. But that those second periods are.
Well, no, I think what you're going to say is they need to fix the second period and they need to fix their breakout. They get into this funk. They did it in Boston, where they literally couldn't get the puck out of their own zone. Actually, not Boston. The first game, there were 2 stretches. I think it was in the second period and in the third period, where they literally couldn't get the puck out of their own end, and that cannot happen. That literally cannot happen.
I feel like they did a better job of it today, and
They
the way
did.
Martin St. Louis explained it in his pregame interview and his postgame interview after Boston was the other team got the puck deep and just knew how to kind of fight and the way you fight that back is you get it deep yourself. And if you watch the first line today and all the lines, if they weren't odd man in, they dumped it in and they forechecked and they kept the puck in the other team's end. And by doing that, it didn't allow the puck to be in their end. And so that helped the Canadiens kind of overcome, the challenges that they had in the Boston game and turn the page on the fact that I felt like their breakouts were a lot better tonight. Even in the second period, it was just the fact that in the second period, some of the players just stayed on the ice too long. And when they got offensive chances, they didn't come off. They stayed on the ice and then they got stuck on the ice a little bit too long. But all in all, it was a great game by the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, Montembeault stood on his head again, and I think if he was just a regular Montembeault, it probably would have been a tie game or close to it. So he played a great game, and then you had a lot of the players stepping up, and if you get your goal scorers scoring goals and you get your defensemen doing the things they're doing, I think you're going to have a good season. So
Yeah, listen, if Monty keeps this going, the Canadiens are going to go. They're going to keep this going. So it's confidence. It happened with Carey Price. Carey Price for years played great, and he gave that confidence to the team to play better. And so it all starts with goaltending, in my opinion, and then it's contagious for the rest of the team, for the defense, for the offense. You start scoring goals. You start, getting that confidence of getting the puck out of the zone very quickly. it's even, I think it even helps the power play. I know,
Right.
ironically enough.
Okay.
So yeah, I think
No,
this is fantastic.
yeah, exciting start to the season. To tell tell you the truth, like if I've been, if you've been watching my episodes, I was hoping and hopeful the Canadiens are going to, obviously improve from last year, at least 15 points. That'll put them in the mix to make the playoffs just by itself. I'm optimistic still, more optimistic than I was. I wasn't expecting a start like this. I thought one win out of the first three games would have been enough for me to kind of say, okay, we're okay. The fact that they got two wins, and even in their loss, they put four pucks in the net, so you can't be too disappointed in terms of the Canadiens. On to the next game. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do outside of their division, and they start playing some teams outside of their division, and seeing how the kids perform from that perspective. But I like the fact that they're talking about Caulfield and Suzuki as veterans now, which is it's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun to see as we have some veteran players that are 22 and 23 and 25.
Yeah,
So
I think if I'm not mistaken, they are considered probably like the youngest team in the league, or
they're the
top
second. They're the second
youngest
youngest.
team in the league.
Well, you're right. You're right in both. They're the second youngest team in the NHL based on the average. But there's a player by the name of Carey Price that's still on the books. That
Yeah,
makes that number. If you take his age out of it, then they're the youngest team. So we don't want to talk about that story because we can go on for hours on that
yeah.
one. But
Let's
but
not go
but
there.
um but we'll just say what we'll say. We'll say the Montreal Canadiens, for being the youngest team or second youngest team in the NHL, they're the third or fourth biggest team in the NHL, believe it or not, if you add up all the weight of their defensemen and their big forwards that they have now.
Yeah.
Uh and they still have a guy named Patrick Laine who's sitting on the sidelines who can maybe put the puck in the net
Oh,
in a
absolutely.
couple of
We have
months.
reinforcements coming in December, maybe Christmas.
And
We
and,
may
and
get a
I
Christmas
watched,
present.
and I don't know about you, but I watched the KHL this morning, and I watched a young player by the name of Ivan Demidov. He played 0 minutes in the first period. He was benched by his coach in the first period. He played a couple of shifts in the second period, and then in the third period, he got on the ice and he basically played every third shift, and he was just outstanding. He didn't score a goal, but he looked like a man among boys, and he's an 18-year-old playing in the adult league in the
Right.
KHL. So we have a couple of stars in the coming, and players like Demidov and Fowler, and don't turn your head on Hage. And then you have one on the team that's new, a guy named Lane Hutson, who I think he's him. So
Oh
we'll
my
see how it
God,
goes. I
Hey,
think
I want to just before we adjourn, I want
yeah.
to just give a shout out to Brendan Gallagher, who what a start to the season. 2 goals. He was all over the ice again tonight. He single-handedly against Boston almost mounted a comeback. Just with his heart and digging in the corners and just making things happen at his age. And I mean, the effort and the grittiness that he brings to this team is, I hope, will be contagious and spawn other players to become, to give that effort that he gives every night.
Yeah, listen, I've always been a huge fan of Gallagher. He had a couple of rough seasons a couple of years ago where you just couldn't find the net. I think he turned the corner last year. He was healthier last year. He looks healthy this year. I mentioned before you jumped on, I find he has, believe it or not, out of all the players on the Canadiens right now, I feel like he has the best chemistry with Lane Hutson. It's interesting to watch the rest of the year, 5-on-5 when they play together, and even on the power play. He just knows where Lane Hutson's going to be and pass the puck, and it adds another variable to the Canadiens. If that man now, Gallagher could score 25 goals, it's not out of the realm. He's the kind of player that gets in front of the net, gets the puck in the net. If he can do that, and you got Caulfield scoring goals, and eventually Doc and others and Slavkovsky and others will put the puck in the. I'm optimistic again. So I'm not. I never said they weren't going to be in the mix, but now I'm feeling more and more like this is a team that could compete, and we'll see how it goes as the season progresses. But yeah, Montembeault is, if he plays the way he's playing, that's a huge key. And I have not given up on Primo like some others have, but we'll see how that goes. I mean, he's on the clock. He has to play well, and if he doesn't play well, we have a player in the minors that could maybe play well. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm still optimistic he's going to have a few games where we're going to say, oh yeah, we still like him, and go from there. Not 41. He better not play 41. I agree with you on that. 20, 25.
Let's see. You know what? It'll be interesting. Who plays on Monday night?
Oh, it's going to be
I'm
Montembeau.
going to be shaking my head if I see Primo in that lineup.
It won't, and not only that, but then they don't play again till Saturday, I believe, or they play Thursday. They play Thursday. So yeah, I would be shocked if Montembeau doesn't play Monday and Thursday, again, unless he doesn't have a good game on Monday. And then who knows after that. But let's see. The next two games are should be Montembeau's net, and I agree with that. And if something changes on that regard, then you and I can have another conversation, which I'll start agreeing with you and talking about Martin St. Louis.
Who knows? Maybe Marty is listening to this,
Yeah,
this
maybe.
podcast. So
All
if he
right.
does, then get the message. Ride
You got that,
Monty.
Martin
It's
St.
not
Louis.
hard. It's not rocket science.
All right. Well, thanks again for jumping on. This was Next Shift with Rick Wagan. Suzuki does not suck, although he needs to play a little bit better. And I'm really excited about the season. But talk to you guys soon.
All right. Thanks, Rick.
Okay. Bye.